Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today. So I'm Jennifer Brown, and I represent the Diocese of Olympia Refugee Resettlement Office. Like Sherilyn said, I've been with them for about 4 years. I started off as a community co-sponsor developer during the Afghan rush, where I would connect parishes with families from Afghanistan, and those parishes, including Epiphany, would help them become self-sufficient here in Washington. From there, I started to run our Preferred Communities program, which provided intensive case management to especially vulnerable refugees like the widow that Sherilyn mentioned. And Epiphany was pivotal in helping her become self-sufficient. We were able to support her for a year with rental assistance and a stipend. And she's thriving now on her own. So that was a success story, and there's many others. But because of funding cuts, I'm now pivoting to being an ESL teacher, where I teach Afghan women refugees, just women, at their apartment complex, so that gets rid of the transportation barrier. The only other barrier I've been facing is childcare, but Epiphany stepped up and has donated funds to help pay for childcare so more women can attend my class, and we have a lot of fun. It gets them out of the house. We do things like play the hokey pokey to learn prepositions, and when they had to turn around and put their backside in, it was just like hilarious. They have so much fun. So we're having a good time with that. And then I still do outreach. So here I am. I'm kind of the face of RRO for now, or I have been for the past 4 years, and I really enjoy getting out into the community and speaking about what's happening in our office. Okay, so we're located in Auburn, and our mission, along with the Episcopal Church, is to welcome the stranger. We help our refugees in a variety of ways, but we want to look at the big picture right now. So unfortunately, in this past January, the federal government decided to halt refugee admissions, except for one group, the Afrikaans from South Africa. And so the Episcopal Church said, no, we're not going to play along. And the Episcopal Church decided, after much reflection, to end their relationship with the federal government permanently. So what does that mean for RRO? Well, first let's get back to EMM. So EMM really pretty much shut down. They have like 5 staff left. They shut down offices, they laid off a bunch of people. And then so EMM's here, and then RRO's underneath, and then above EMM is ORR. So we would get our funding from ORR, it would go to EMM, and then EMM would pay us, and we would have to comply with EMM in order to get that money. So without an EMM, we can't accept any refugees, so we had to shut down our refugee resettlement program. And then we had to shut down our Preferred Communities program, which helps the especially vulnerable refugees, because we don't get that federal funding from ORR. Our director is looking for a replacement for EMM, but we haven't had any luck so far.
Can you just say what EMM is?
Yeah, Episcopal Migration Ministries, EMM. Okay, so we have, like I said, we shut down our resettlement program, so there's no new refugees coming in, none, except a really small trickle of SIVs, special interest visas from Afghanistan, that are paying their own way to get here. So they pay their own plane ticket. They don't get any welcome money. So they kind of have to figure it out when they get here. They have to have money because they need an apartment. They may not get any benefits from the government. It's kind of touch and go. To be honest with you, it's really confusing right now about who's getting SNAP and who isn't, and we've been supplementing it with food gift cards for people that are really struggling, especially these SIVs, many of whom are not getting food stamps. So what we're doing to serve refugees now is a program called PRIME, and that's our case management program, but it's not intensive. When we were doing preferred communities, I would get in my car and I would drive to people's homes and I would sit with them and I would hold their hand while they cried. No more of that. That's done. Unfortunately, they have to come to us, and it's real short term and it's real simple things like, oh, your baby needs a birth certificate, we can help you with that. It's not intensive, which is hard to pivot from. So we went from helping, widows pay their rent for a year and sitting with them to, you need to come into the office, make an appointment. I mean, we'll try to come out to you, but we just don't have the time. We were lucky enough where at RRO, we didn't lay anybody off. We've kept all of our staff, and we only had one staff member leave during this crisis. So that was telling, because we're a really strong family at RRO. We're a wonderful team, and we really help each other. So PRIME, like I said, is a case management program. We do set goals. We can help get them connected to housing. We have one housing specialist. We can help get them connected to DSHS, but we don't really teach them how to stay connected because we don't have the time and it's not intensive like it used to be. Now we're just kind of pushing them through. Now, what's weird is PRIME never ends, so it's not like they have an end date. It's not like, okay, you're enrolled for 2 years. No, you're enrolled for like as long as you need us. So we might not hear from them for 2 months, and then bang, they need help with something. And then all of a sudden, you have 40 cases, because people are starting to call, and they need this, and they need that. So it's not the best system, but we're trying to iron it out. Okay, we also offer immigration services. That's for free. That hasn't stopped, really. People are still, they need their green cards. They still need to get asylum. The only thing that we're really sad about is the family reunification is paused. We've got people who've been separated from their children and from their spouses for years, and there's nothing we could do about it because everything's on a pause while the federal government, I guess, looks over the program and decides if it's got kinks it needs to iron out. I'm not entirely sure. This isn't my first rodeo. I used to do resettlement back in Rhode Island, where I'm from. And I can tell you that nobody's taking advantage of the refugee resettlement program. So I don't know what the government exactly is looking for because it works. The people who come here are thoroughly vetted. They have to go through several interviews, which is traumatizing because they have to tell their story over and over again. And it's almost like the person on the other end is looking for holes. Like almost like you have to prove to us you're a refugee. So they're vetted, that way their health is vetted, their background's vetted, make sure that they're not dangerous. So they're thoroughly vetted, and they don't get that much money. It's not like they're handed a new house and a car and all this stuff. They get the basics, and they're basically kept in poverty. I hate to say it, but and it's up to them to lift themselves out, basically. We're there to help out in times of crisis, not like we were before. It's much different now. Okay, we're still teaching ESL as a second language. That's not going anywhere. That's state funded. And I've decided to take that over. It's a nice break from the case management and the management I was doing for years. But ESL is fantastic because they need the English to assimilate. They need it for the jobs. They need it just, to fill out forms at the doctor's office, because we can't always be there with them or help them with all of this. And especially for the women, they tend to rely on their husbands a lot. And it's better if they learn English and they're more self-sufficient and, divide and conquer instead of having to do everything with your spouse. We also have a program called IDA, Individual Development Accounts. So basically, one way for refugees to make money fast is with Uber or Lyft or DoorDash. And so they need a nice car. You have to have a nice, reliable car. So as long as they have some stream of income, it can be government assistance, or it could be a job, and they can save some money, we'll match it. And then when it's time for them to buy the car, we hand the check over to the dealership, they get a new car, and they have a business. We help them with the business license, we give them training, financial management training, how to do a business plan, car buying basics, all that stuff, we give them training. We also do job search, again, state funded. All of this is state funded. All the federal money's gone. So job search is tough because they come from another culture where, example, time is completely different. So being on time, like, what? I did the Peace Corps in Ethiopia, and then I did something similar in Eritrea. And the later you were to an appointment, the more important you were. Can you imagine that? How many, So we have to, teach them, this is what is expected of you. We're putting together a workshop on soft skills in skits to show them what and what not to do, for example, at a job interview. Don't check your watch and make eye contact. And, we know you're worried about catching that bus, but you can't make that your primary focus at the job interview. Okay, we do find people jobs. That's not the hard part. The hard part is how do they retain it? How do you keep it? Again, you have to be on time. Transportation could be an issue, so we try to give out gas cards. The bus system isn't great. You could take 2 hours to commute to your job. So a lot of people end up doing Uber for the flexibility and the instant cash. We also have something called a micro-enterprise program where we give out loans for people to start businesses like daycares. So the Somali community has pretty much cornered the daycare market. Although the Afghans are stepping up, the Somalis have it all together. And we have Somalis come to us, I want to start a daycare. And they already know what to do because their cousin's done it and their neighbor's done it. So I'm not sure how much we loan. Oh, up to $15,000 usually, sometimes more. We do food cart businesses, restaurants, you name it. As long as they have a viable business plan and they're refugees, we can help them build economic independence. So here are some success stories. So we had an Afghan person apply to Prime. They started ESL to get their nursing lingo down, got their credentials transferred, went to school, got a nursing job, bought their first home with IDA. Starting a cleaning service, employing 3 people, Ukrainian. We also have a Ukrainian 2 doors down from us that started a successful art gallery. I mean, who does that? You know? And we go there and we take painting classes as a team. It's so much fun. So a lot of what we do, though, comes from volunteers and donations. For example, with this government shutdown, everyone's losing their food benefits next month, November 1st. So we're going to have a big problem on our hands, because that's like, we've got families, like a family maybe of 8 or 9, that really rely on that money. That's like $1,200 a month in food stamps. It's going to be gone. Like, phew. And then we have WIC, I think is going to be going away too. So we get a lot of pregnant women, and we enroll them all in Prime. And then we teach them what it's like to have a baby for the first time in the United States. We give them, gift cards to go buy things that they need for their babies. We hook them up with agencies to get them car seats, cribs, mattresses, sheets, you name it. They don't have any money to buy all that stuff because all their money goes to rent. All of it. Sometimes 100%, and it's not enough because rents are so high, like $2,000 is the average, which is more than a lot of people's mortgages if you bought here at least 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So basically, we're struggling with 3 things right now. Food. We could really use some food gift cards. We usually give out $100 a pop, like to Fred Meyer or Safeway or even Walmart. And they, we have them sign something that says they'll use it for food. Except for the pregnant moms, I'm like, you can get what you want. Or as soon as they have their baby, here you go buy your baby some stuff. Diapers, we like to keep a diaper bank. And when people come, we're always giving away diapers, and they're very grateful for that. So diaper drives are always really beneficial to our office. And then we have a client named Mohammed who's really struggling. His rent is only like $750 a month, but he can't work right now because of an immigration issue, which isn't his fault. He's an SIV. He had to apply for it and asylum at the same time, and I'm not an immigration expert. I don't understand it completely, but he can't work right now, and his family's stuck in Afghanistan. And he got injured in Afghanistan with one of those mines, like one IUD, I don't know what you call it, IED or something. He got injured, I think his face and his neck. So he's struggling. So he's the only person actually at the agency we're looking to raise rent money for, and we'd like to support him for 6 months, if possible, while we get his immigration status sorted out. And then getting his family over here is another matter. I guess we have to wait another 3.5 years. I don't know. So it's been a struggle. It's been a roller coaster. It's very emotional to have the programs that you've poured your heart and your soul into just vaporize out of thin air, from thin air. It's gone. But it's okay because we're still serving the refugees that are here. There's lots of people here that need the help. Our office is open. Our staff is getting paid. And we're still welcoming the stranger, and we're just waiting, for the refugee resettlement program to reopen, which we believe it will. It's just going to take some time. So this is a way you could donate online, QR code, and if you want my email address or my phone number, you can take a picture of that. and then I'll go back to that. Does anybody have any questions? I could go on for hours and hours, but I'm just going to, especially about the government, but I'm going to stop there. Yes?
Yeah, is there any attempt, not that it would be, oh, sorry, let me. Hi there, how's this?
Hi.
Is this better? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any, what sort of effort do you have at advocacy to try and approach the government? Not that they're going to listen, but what kind of efforts are going on with respect to advocacy?
That's a really good question. I mean, personally, I haven't done any advocacy to the government because, like you said, they're not, it's like hitting your head against a brick wall. But I think at the levels of the state, where you have like the refugee state coordinator is partaking in advocacy. The refugee health coordinator is partaking in advocacy. And the way that they're doing that is with money, basically. So they keep giving us money, grants. For example, rent. There's a program called Forward, which is state money, not federal, which gives refugees 2 months of rent. But what happens is they'll come to us with the bill. Miss Jennifer, because I'm the rent person, I'm the rent lady. Miss Jennifer, I got this eviction notice. I owe $10,000 in rent. Okay, well, what happened? Somewhere there was some kind of miscommunication about expectations somewhere. Now, at the same time, you understand that she can't pay her rent because she can't work because she has a disabled daughter who needs 24/7 care. So how does she go to work? Who's going to take care of the child? Nobody. So she can't work. Even when we went to DSHS for job search, they're like, no, we're not putting her in job search. She can't work. So she hands me a bill for $10,000. So I go to the government. You have to pay this. So that's how I advocate. You have to pay this money. And I think they're gonna. So they have to. At this point, they're like doing a clean slate for the next year. So really all the state's doing is they're throwing money at the problem. It doesn't solve the rent, it doesn't solve the issue that rents are too high. It doesn't solve the issue that, minimum wage is too low. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what all the answers are, but that's the best answer I think I could give you. Yes? Oops.
How many people are you trying to serve in that? Is this just in Western Washington, or is it the whole state?
It's just South King County.
Okay.
Sometimes we get clients up in like Bellevue or up north, but it's rare.
And how many people do you have? Do you know?
We probably have in our prime program anywhere from maybe 100 people.
Okay.
And then immigration, they're constantly coming through. ESL, we probably have 50 people.
So it's not a huge group.
No.
What we sort of, well, I say we, but I should say I sort of expected that a lot of people who were here on special visas were going to get kicked back out. It sounds like that hasn't happened.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you anticipate it?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I think that refugees are pretty safe in the current climate. SIVs, and the only ones who aren't are those seeking asylum.
Okay.
If you are here and you don't have asylum, you're at risk of being deported. But the refugees are fine.
Okay.
I know they're nervous,
No
but
kidding.
they're fine.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Can you define that? So like, they're seeking asylum, and then, yeah, just those terms.
Somebody, hold on a second.
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
Sorry.
Can you define that seeking asylum versus refugee?
Sure.
Okay.
So a refugee is someone who has been officially deemed a refugee by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. They've gone through all the vetting I talked about, and they have that stamp. You're a refugee. With that comes perks, or used to have perks. Not so much anymore with the government, the federal government. Asylum would be people coming over the border and just getting like maybe parole status. So if you have parole status, that's only 2 years you can stay here, and then you gotta go. And the current government is not, or trying not to, extend parole status for Haitians, Cubans, Venezuelans, and other groups. But I know the courts are battling with the government over that, so that's all up in the air. I think those people right now can stay. So like I said, a refugee's been through the vetting. They have that stamp. The UN said, yep, you're definitely a refugee. And then you can't pick which country you're gonna go to. You can't say, all right, I wanna go to the US. No, it doesn't work that way. They tell you which country you're going to, and then you can pick where in that country. Yeah, so you don't get to choose. Which is stupid, because like, a lot of people like have family in Germany. Like, what if you wanna go be with your daughter in Germany, but no, you have to go be with the other daughter in the United States. So, I don't know, and the other one needs more help. I think you should be able to choose, but it doesn't work that way.
I'm just curious, King County is an extremely expensive place to live.
Yeah.
And, we have just a universal child care problem here. Is there any attempt to try and relocate these people to areas where they might find success more easily?
I personally do that. I'll do workshops like Adjusting to Life in the US, and I'll say, you really should, as a group, there's enough of you Afghans, pick up as a community and move to Arkansas. Take over Arkansas, because right now, the #1 language in the Auburn public schools is Dari. So they could just pick up and move that Dari down south, or Texas, or somewhere. I tell them that all the time. And they're like, are you trying to kick us out? And I say, yes, you should leave. And then I tell them, when you're 62 and you retire, move back to Afghanistan if the climate's okay, the political climate, and then you can live on Social Security. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes so much sense. Doesn't it? It does to me. So I tell them to get a job, work, and so that you can get that Social Security, save your money, open an IRA, or get a 401k, save all your money, and go retire in Afghanistan. By then, maybe the Taliban will be gone. You never know. That's like 30 years, 40 years from now for a lot of these women that I teach. Any other questions?
Well, how did they end up, I know the microphone, but how did they choose to be, or they didn't choose to be in King County versus Arkansas, right? Sorry.
How do they kind of end up here rather than in Arkansas in the first place?
They go where there are Afghans and where they have a U.S. tie, so a family member or a friend who's supposed to help them. They don't always help. Sometimes they disappear, but some of them really step up and help them get acclimated to King County. So it's just, plus Washington is a welcoming state. We're immigrant friendly. I don't know how friendly Arkansas is. I've never been there. I don't know. I may say go, like I tell them to do your research first. I can't do everything, all the research for them, but that's what it is. We're welcoming. If you look up nonprofits, say in Washington versus a place like Arkansas, Seattle explodes with nonprofits that can help people. Down in Arkansas, there probably isn't as much. So it's relative. So maybe Texas would be better. I don't know. Yes, Definitely Washington has a lot of positive perks because it's immigrant friendly, but it's just too expensive. It's too expensive. The widow that you guys helped, she's a paraeducator. They don't pay enough. And her take-home pay after taxes is like $2,800 a month, and her rent's $2,000. So she has to live on $800 a month for her and 5 kids. She wants to start a daycare, but says she doesn't have enough English. So I think she does. So I'm trying to. But then she's got a pension with this job. So if she gets the daycare, she'll have to be responsible for her own retirement, which is tough. When your kids need cars in college and this and that, it's hard to save money. So it's a catch-22. Does she go for the pension where she's getting bit at work by the kids, you know? Because they don't pay, I don't know, they don't pay them enough. She works with autistic children and they hit her. You know, so it's hard. It's hard. She's got to do it. She's got to get up and go to work every day to support those kids. On $2,800 a month in King County. It's tough. So we're friendly, but it's expensive. Any other questions?
Okay, well, thank you, Jennifer, for
You're
your time.
welcome.